Here we go again.
Welcome back to Donuts in Space and part 15 of the USS Voyager build. We've now got 4 coats of the primary colour down. I basically did this in really light coats, to be fair. I didn't want to go overboard with it. So I just basically, as I say, just done 4 light coats on this just to get it to where it is now. I used the Tamiya Sky Grey for this one, so I used 20 millilitres of that with 2 millilitres of medium blue in there just to help give it a little bit of a blue hue, and I then used a tad of the neutral grey, which is a slightly darker grey, just to sort of darken the sky grey down a little bit, because it was a little bit too light really. It was coming out more like a light ghost grey than anything else. So yeah, quite happy with the way that this one's come out. She's not looking too bad. And then if we just turn her over, you can see there that she's not looking too bad. So the next thing for me to do now on this one is to basically get all of the sensor bands and a few other bits and pieces done in a darker grey, and then once they're done, I'll then go over to the other colours that we need to put on there. There's some like tan browns and slightly darker greys as well, actually, that need to go on this kit. So yeah, that's going to be the next job. But what I'm going to do before I do anything else, even though this is actually dried at the moment, I think I'm just going to leave it for just 24 hours or so, just to let it dry off completely, and then that way, again, it's going to minimise any risk of tear up. I mean, I do still have some of the paint left over in case I need to patch up anything, but hopefully I won't need to. I'm just being a little bit more cautious, because I know the last time that I built this kit I did have a few issues with paint tearing up and bad reactions for some reason, even though I was just using exclusively using the Tamiya colours on this, on the last one. For some reason I still had bad reactions, which is a little bit weird. So I'm just going to leave this to dry out for 24 hours before we start the process of getting the secondary colours on there. So as soon as I've made a bit more progress on this wee beastie of mine, I will come back to you. Well, we got the first of many secondary colours down. So we've got this part up here done, around where the airlock is. We've got the dorsal spine area done, and also these pads on the pylons and fan tail. And then we've also got the same on the bottom as well. We've got some colours on there that we've had to do the same, as you can see there. So the next thing I've got to do is just got to use a slightly darker grey to go over these little, well, what I call fins. Don't know what they're actually called. They look like radiator fins, so they need to be done in a slightly darker grey. Those I'm just going to do by hand, because there is absolutely no point in spending 5 hours masking off those little bits just to spray for 30 seconds. So I might as well just take my time and do them by hand. Once that's done, then all we need to do on the top there is just do the inner part of these where the torpedo launchers are. That needs to be done in a slightly darker grey, and then need to be done in a shade of brown, and I can't remember what brown it was I used, so I'm going to have to go back and reference it. And then we've also got these fins up here that need to be done. One of the other things that need to be done as well is on the aero shuttle. We will need to use this grey and also the other grey that I'm going to be using for these little finny bits, and we need to put those down on here. So we've got two different shades of grey and also white to go on there. One of the other things that I'm going to do with the aero shuttle on here is, when you see the actual aero shuttle on its own, you will notice that the thrusters, which is just there and also just there, and then we've got one there and then one there, they're the same colour as the thrusters that are actually on the ship. Now when you see the studio model of this, they're just grey for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know whether it was an oversight or, you know, they just didn't think about that. To be fair, I don't know. But because when you see the actual aero shuttle on its own, that these are actually orange, I'm going to do them the same as that. It would actually fit in better with with the ship as well. So that's what I'm going to do. Rightly or wrongly, that's what I'm going to do. And then after that, it's just, I think, a few different shades of brown for the sensors and a few other bits around the back of the ship. And then, well, we got a darker grey as well for all of the sensors, and then an orange for the front there, and then a couple of others, and then we can go on to sort of shading and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just going to carry on, get some more work done to this wee beastie, and as soon as we've got some more work done, I will come back to you. We are getting some work done to the Voyager. It's one of those slow, laborious tasks that takes forever because of the amount of masking that needs to be done. Some of it I've done by hand because it's just quicker and easier to do it by hand, to be fair. It's just quicker to paint it by hand than it is to mask it all off and then spray it and then unmask it. So yeah, it's taken a while, but we're slowly getting there. There are a few issues in places where we're going to need to go back over with some of the secondary colours, and then also in places where we're going to need to go over with the primary colour as well. But as you can see on the top here, we've got most of the areas on the fantail done. We've also got the dorsal spine done. We've got the main sensor bands done in well, what I like to call sensor grey. We've also got some of the other details done in different colours as well, and then we've also got some white bits done too, and also down the side as well with the sensors. We've got those done, and then on the bottom there you can see we've also got some more areas done there that have been filled in, and then we've also got these areas here, and also the aero shuttle. We're starting on that. There's just a couple of more colours on there. I'm going to have to redo these little bits here, mainly these two bits here and here. They don't actually show up on this model kit for some reason, so you kind of have to paint those bits on. So I've had to trace around the aero shuttle that I've got to get those in. But we've had a little bit of bleed through on those, so I'm going to have to redo those and redo them in the primary colour again. This bit here needs to be have some work redone to it as well. Basically, the paint. Well, the primary colour really is still showing through those bits there, so we just need to get a few of those bits done. And these are the bits actually that I'm mainly doing by hand, because there's just no point in masking them off. As I say, it's just going to take me 5 times as long to try and mask the whole lot off, and then spray it, and then unmask it, etc. So there's just no point really, to be fair. But yeah, apart from that, we're getting on quite well. I think the next thing for me to work on, to be fair, the next biggest thing that I'm going to work on are the sensors. Sorry, not the sensors, the phaser strips, phaser banks. I'm going to get those sorted, get those done, and then that in itself is going to take a while, to be fair. And yeah, they're going to need to be masked off because my hands aren't steady enough really to actually sort of get down level to do those. So it's best that I do those with masking tape. So I'm going to get those done, and I will come back to you once they're done. Well, we got a couple of more, well, we got a few more things done to this wee beastie now. We've got this part painted. We've got this part painted, those two parts in there painted. We've got the phasers, phaser arrays on the top painted. We've also got the thrusters painted as well. And then if we turn the ship on its belly, you can also see there we've pretty much well done the same thing there. There are a few bits and pieces that need to be redone. This part around here needs to be redone, to be fair. So yeah, it's not looking too bad though, to be fair. The actual thrusters on the raised surface detail, that needs to be painted a lighter shade of the same colour that's on the thrusters. And then on the inside of the raised details, we've then also got another colour that needs to go into them. So yeah, that's going to take a while just to do those. There's not really much more left on this to go, to be fair, with the secondary colours. I mean, once I've got the main ones done, you know, as I say, there's not really a lot left to be done. I've just got the thrusters at the rear to do after that, and then these bits here on the inside need to be done as well, and then that's them taken care of. So yeah, there's not primary, secondary colour wise, there's not a lot left to go. Once we've got all of the main secondary colours on, then we just need to do all of the details in all of the sensors, which will take a little while, and that kind of really helps to bring the whole thing alive, really, to be fair. I had to take off the torpedo launchers on this part here, mainly because as I was painting it, I couldn't get the paint underneath the torpedo launchers, and I didn't really want to start getting massive build up of paint in those areas because it would look awful and you'd be able to see it anyway. So I took them off to do that. I can quickly and quite easily glue them back on with a little bit of microcrystal clear glue, because that really does help photo etch to stick. It takes a little bit of time to dry, but it's, I think in some respects, is far superior to super glue, mainly because it does actually hold a lot easier. So yeah, we've got that done. The torpedo launchers basically need to be done in that same colour, so I can paint those off whilst they're off the ship, and that'd be great. And then I just need to do the torpedo launchers, sorry, on the front of the ship as well in the same colour, and then the thrusters, the impulse exhaust, and also these little U-bits, or the insides of them, need to be painted in the same colour as well. With the phasers, this is pretty much a close match to what's on the studio model itself. The only thing is, I'm not sure whether I like it, because it kind of does stick out like a sore bloody thumb, to be fair. So yeah, at the moment I'm not too enamoured by it. I mean, by the time I get everything else done, I might like it, I don't know. If not, then it's not really going to take too much to actually go back in and redo those. I mean, apart from the fact that it's the masking, because it's at the moment, at this particular stage, it's the masking that takes all the time, to be fair. And one of the tapes that I'm using, especially for these bits, is this stuff. I don't know whether any of you guys have actually seen this or not, but this is basically a masking vinyl tape by Tamiya. It's a bit like the blue 3M tape that you get for car body repairs, etc., except for this doesn't have the adhesive quality that the 3M stuff does. So this will conform to curves, especially these ones on the ship here. But they won't rip your paint up, or you haven't got the risk of your paint being pulled up. The only downside to this tape is that if you need to conform to a tighter curve, this won't do it, because obviously you would need to stretch the tape to be able to get that curve put in nicely. So the adhesive on this tape will actually let go, whereas the stuff on the 3M don't. But with the 3M, you do actually have that risk of bringing the paint up as with it as well. It's happened to me a few times, and it gets a bit annoying. So where I can, I will actually use the Tamiya vinyl masking tape, because it's, as I say, the adhesive on it isn't as strong as what it is on the 3M tape. So there we go. So that's that. The kit is not looking too bad at the moment. As I say, not many more layers of paint to go on, and then it's, you know, we're looking at doing other types of painting after that. Then it's going to be gloss coat, then it's going to be decals, then it's going to be another gloss coat, then it's going to be weathering, and then it's going to be sealed with a flat coat. So yeah, we still got quite a ways to go. Hopefully I'm going to get this finished before the end of December. I don't know, but hopefully I am. But yeah, there you go. So that's the ship. I have a couple of questions for you guys out there. Firstly, well, just to give you a bit of a background, without giving too much of the game away, I am doing a heavily customized build or two. It's not going to be filmed in my usual way, because it's going to be more a case of when I'm waiting for things on models to dry, I'll just then concentrate on that. And get a bit of work done to it slowly over time. So it's one of those builds that's going to be in the background, and it's going to take a while to do, and it's going to be filmed in a completely different way. So that's that part of it. But what I'm going to need is, firstly, a good kind of putty that can be used, that does harden, but something that's quite soft and malleable to begin with. I don't want anything that's going to be difficult to mould, because I'm going to have to mould it around what will be at the time fairly fragile bits of plastic to be able to get the kind of curves that I want. Then it's going to need to be glued to plastic, if that makes sense, to do the scratch building come kit bashing bits that I need it to do. But once I've done that, I'm then going to need to make copies of it. So I will need to know what is the best kind of material to use, to be able to pour into molds to make copies of those parts. That then leads on to the other part, which is what stuff will I need to use to make a mold, to be able to make copies of those parts, and how do I go about making a two-part mold. So if anybody out there knows all the answers to those questions, or can quite literally point me into the right direction of somebody who does actually make molds for parts, to begin with, if they've got a how-to tutorial somewhere in the depths of YouTube, and can point me in their right direction, that would be great, because all of those things I do need for this particular enterprise that I'm going on. And I'm not giving anything away when I say that. I'm not talking about the Enterprise ships. But yeah, with this particular project, there's going to be quite a lot of scratch building, quite a lot of kit bashing, and there's going to be quite a few things that need to be sort of customized, and then molds taken of them, so I can actually get those sorted out. So yeah, if anybody can help me with that part, that would be fantastic. Please leave comments down below with either the kind of stuff that I need to use and or links to how-tos to make two-part molds that I can then just pour whatever it is into that mold to be able to create that particular part. I know that's not really giving away too much, and it might flummox you, I don't know, a little bit, I don't know. But if anybody can help, as I say, I just don't want to give the game away on what I'm doing, to be fair. I would like it to be a complete surprise. And as I say, it's going to be one of those builds that's going to be done in the background anyway, so, you know, hopefully most people would have forgotten about the fact that I asked in this video in a couple of months' time, because it's something that I'm not going to be starting off until next year, because I've got this ship to do. I've got this ship to finish off. I've also got the Kazon Raider to finish off, and I also really want to get to the Marquee Fighter and get that built and finished as well, because then that will, for all intents and purposes, finish off the Voyager models. I'm still looking at getting resin copies of a couple of the ships that were kind of in there in that film as well. I think one of them was well, one of them turned up in an episode. I think it was in the fourth, maybe no, I think it was the fifth, maybe sixth season. I can't remember the name of the ship actually, but then I think Harry Kim was also the captain of the Rhode Island. I think it was the Rhode Island in the very last episode, kind of like, you know, set somewhat into the future. So yeah, if I buy those, then yeah, obviously there's going to be another 2 kits to go with this series. But again, that will be later down the line. Anyway, that's besides the point. But yeah, there we go. That's it. So yeah, if anybody can help me with those things I've sort of asked about, that would be fantastic. I'm going to call this video quits here. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, to be fair, but you know, whatever it is going out anyway. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys, and I will catch up with you in part 16 of the Voyager rebuild. And yeah, so until then, please do take care, and thank you for watching.